director Shado, the internet personality of the best hair. And while I have in the past reviewed plenty of full moon horror movies, lately it has all been Evil Bong. Which is a disservice to Full Moon, as before they were churning out the yearly Weed and Boob Hour, they did make some pretty interesting looking straight-to-video horror movies. Going all the way back to 1989, we dig up a classic, Puppet Master. Presented in a 4:3 aspect ratio, because what do you want? That's how televisions were shaped back in the day. Nevertheless, Puppet Master is about a master of puppets. Kinda. The story is best described as what happens when you take Child's Play and throw it in a blender with Phantasm and about $50. It's certainly there, but it's not the easiest thing to piece together and understand. Despite that, you can be sure there is the undead, strange psychic phenomena, and of course killer dolls running around making sure the body count rises. And there have been a ton of these movies, like double-digit sequels. And yet still, the 1987 Full Moon Productions Dolls is not considered one of them. But nevertheless, let's take a look at Puppet Master and see just what an introduction to the franchise it provides. After a little intro sequence showing some extreme close-ups of some puppets, our story begins in California at the Bodega Bay Inn in 1939. It's here we meet Andre Toulon, played by William Hickey, putting the finishing touches on his latest creation. And his puppets are alive. Just gonna get that out of the way quickly. Why wait until the 40-minute mark for the big reveal when the movie is literally called Puppet Master? The lookout puppet's glances aren't even important yet. What is important is this first-person perspective of another puppet running around panting heavily. Despite having no lungs, no need to breathe, no ability to talk, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. How exactly do these puppets come to life anyway?
Life on my life.
Oh, he just casts the magic puppet alive spell. Of course, why didn't I think of that? But this little puppet spots a terrifying pair coming for his master. Trenchcoat bedecked assholes who are easily spotted by the lookout.
I know they're coming.
Geez, their approach was so obvious, even Toulon knew without even actually having to see them. This worries the puppets, but he's like, it's fine. He's got this all figured out. Just gotta open up this handy-dandy secret compartment, put away his old ancient Egyptian scroll, as you do, and pack all his puppets away in a trunk. Oh wait, so he's not invisible? And this puppet's been running around the hotel all this time, running in front of people, running between people, running through people's legs, running across the piano keys, making plenty of noise. And he only now gets noticed 9 minutes in. Doesn't matter much anyway, as Blade, voiced by Burt Rosario, makes it back to the master without much trouble. He's like, it's cool. Yeah, the baddies are on the way, but you'll be fine, so don't sweat it. Just gonna stuff you into this box and stuff that box into the secret wall compartment. Then, stuff this pistol into my mouth. Und der Saal der Toten steigt. Das ist nicht dein Seid! So that could have gone better. Anyway, let's fast forward 50 years to present day, 1989, Yale University, where we are introduced to Alex Whitaker, played by Paul Le Mat. He has a terrifying vision of things to come. And then... But it's all just a dream! I'm gonna be getting a lot of mileage out of that one in this review, aren't I? In keeping up with your standard horror setups, let's jump over to the carnival to introduce our next important character, a fortune teller, Irene Miracle, playing the role of the White Witch, Dana Hadley. She's got some real damn magical powers here, but they aren't quite as reliable as you would think.
Your grandmother, she isn't going to be around very long.
My grandmother's already dead, ma'am.
Well, it's really your grandmother.
Now, I'm tempted to walk by some fortune tellers. I'll know which one's real when they start having a horrifying migraine and tell me to get the hell out of there. But she does get quite a bad reaction to a vision she receives. A vision of murder. Anyway, let's just move right along to the Big Apple. Gotta introduce some more characters. Psychic researchers. Carissa Stamford, played by Catherine O'Reilly, and Frank Forrester, played by Matt Rowe. They're testing Carissa's ability to read this lady's thoughts with a handy-dandy control of a machine that just so happens to be able to do exactly that.
I want you to recreate in your mind your wildest sexual fantasy. paying particular attention to the details, all right?
All right. Some silk sheets. Nice lingerie. Ooh, what the hell is Sonic the Hedgehog doing here? Unfortunately, though, Carissa's specialty is psychometry, and without touch, she just ain't getting anything from this. No time to dwell on that. Alex calls up, says, hey, he got contacted, they got contacted, they all got contacted.
What does it mean? Why all of us at once?
It means Gallagher located the old puppet master's hiding place.
Ah, yes, Gallagher, of course. We just haven't bothered to establish that character yet. So Gallagher's calling them over to the Bodega Bay Inn. So they all decide to hop on over there using their combined psychic powers in whatever way is needed. This introduces Gallagher's wife, Megan Gallagher, played by Robin Freites, and the hotel maid, Teresa, played by Muse Small. They make polite introductions, as everyone is conveniently here, except for Neil Gallagher, anyway.
And where might old Neil be?
I thought you knew.
You what?
He's fucking dead. Oh, and played by Jimmy F. Skaggs. The psychics are a bit taken aback by the fact that they didn't see this one coming. Evidently, Neil shot himself, left a note about waiting for his best buds before they buried him, and so he's scheduled to be put in the earth tomorrow. But first, they'd like some time with Neil.
Don't touch the body.
Well, so much for using psychometry to solve this mystery in a femtosecond. Not everyone is quite as respectful of their wishes, though, as Dana figures they gotta make sure Neil is really dead by jamming a needle through the corpse.
Dead as a doornail.
I could have also tried, the hand, a leg, some other body part devoid of vital organs. While they fiddle with the corpse, Alex heads up to his lodging, guided by Megan. And somehow manages to make it even weirder. Alex explains he's just surprised to learn that Neil got married. He didn't seem the marrying type. Anyway, got more time to psychic around the place before tomorrow, so Dana warns Teresa that she should do her best to try and not get murdered in the near future. And Alex steals some of Carissa's shtick to touch a picture and have a vision. Megan and a masked man dancing in a white room. And that man is Neil!
You can't save her, Alex.
Okay, this movie does have puppets in it somewhere, right? Well, what's this about evil Neil? Well, Carissa hops in that elevator, and her psychometry is like, hey, Neil forced himself on a woman in here, and it wasn't even his wife. Which is like finding out he murdered someone while jaywalking. Best not to tell Megan, though. It might upset her. She's got enough to worry about, what with Neil being dead and all. And the killer puppets running around, like Pinhead over here, voiced by Ed Cook with hands played by Cindy Sorensen. And some not bad stop motion here and there to boot. Anyway, it's time for the big dinner where we learn that Dana is quite a lush and has no problem laying out how Neil was a total asshole. Screw how he helped her after her parents died. He obviously married her for her money. And just for the record, no one here is her friend either.
He screwed us. And we mean to even the score. I'll make myself clear.
All of this would maybe be a little bit easier to understand if Neil was introduced slightly before he died. But Alex tries to apologize. It's not their fault. They're what you'd call magicians. At least that's what the movie calls them, though. The only one there who does any kind of magic is Dana, the White Witch. Simply put, Frank is a psychic, Carissa's a psychic, and Alex is a psychic, though all by differing specializations. Seems Frank and Neil learned about the ancient Egyptians and magic to bring dolls to life, and Dana used her power to help Neil find an alchemist. Anyway, that's interesting, so let's just stop to watch Teresa do some mundane shit around the hotel that has fuck all to do with advancing any part of the plot whatsoever. Oh, would you look at that? It's because she's about to get murdered by a living puppet. I presume. And that doesn't look like the most pleasant thing to have to go through, but let's be honest, it looked survivable. But a scream grabs the attention of the rest of them. It seems Megan has fainted, as Neil is out of the coffin sitting comfortably in a chair. Still dead, though, so just put him back in the coffin and make plans to dig through the hotel in search for answers and the secret of the old puppet master.
If he found it, why kill himself?
Well, the movie opened up with him calling you guys up like, hey, found it, and you just fly down there, and whoa, there it is. We got all this stuff. Great, roll credits. Not the most entertaining feature, just saying. But who moved the body like that? They assume it had to be Teresa. After all, she's nowhere to be found. So, secret lost ancient Egyptian golem magic, mysteriously moving cadavers. That's nice and all, but forget all this plot for a minute so Carissa can moan about some fantastical past conversations that happened in this hotel. But what's this? Frank isn't answering her calls. What could this mean? Hey! Oh, sorry, I won't be long. Just, like the video if you want. You can also subscribe. New movie reviews every Wednesday. So you're busy. I'll let you get back to that.
Get the hell out of me, you jerk!
Come on, darling. I just wanted to get you into that haunted house mood for tonight's work.
And nothing says sexy quite like cosplaying as a creep from Blood Harvest. That's just how they work. It's investigation. Really, really deep investigation.
You don't get to do anything but what I want you to do.
Oh, great, baby. That's just great.
Oh yeah, because nothing bad ever happens when a man is tied to a bed in a horror movie. Dana's doing her best for protection spells and what have you, and keeping up pleasant conversation with her stuffed dog, Leroy. But the puppets are on the loose, Blade sneaking around the hallways, and soon enough, the deeply stimulating intellectual conversation is interrupted by weird noises and an open door. So Carissa checks under the bed. Only for Tunneler to rush in and screw her brains out. So she's dead as shit, but for being so deeply involved with psychics and psychic phenomena, Frank here hasn't got the slightest clue what's going on, as a Carissa puppet then emerges. And his dumbass is all like, ooh, she's just playing with me. She simply wanted to scare me before shrinking down to about 1 foot tall and continuing our little chat. But as she vomits leeches all over his body, he starts to wonder.
Oh, man. Gonna wear it out.
But unfortunately for him, everyone just thinks that those screams and cries are part of that normal nighttime conversation he has. And he's too dumb to mix it up with a little, help me, oh God, please help me once in a while. Thus, Alex can't sleep, and neither can Dana, so she's like, hey, we could sleep together. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna maybe realize you were hitting on me 2 years from now and be kicking myself, but I would really like to just take a walk right now. There's someone waiting for her in her room. Neil. She ain't scared. She can cast a little magic, blow a little smoke, and boom, that ought to do it. But that did nothing to put an end to the killer puppet problem. Geez, I don't care how short they are. Building full of psychics, how does nobody see them coming? One snap later, and Dana is hobbling around like her leg is broken, because it is. Unfortunately for her, that means that Pinhead has no problem catching up to her and continuing the assault. It's not easy to make little miniature murderers seem that threatening. The way this movie handles it is by not bothering to. That doesn't look the least bit threatening, and the music's not helping. So she just chucks his ass down the stairwell, but then has to flee from Blade. Into the elevator she does, barely escaping the puppet in time. But oh, yeah, that's the first floor where she threw him down to earlier. That's the thing about no internal organs, makes it very easy to survive a fall. She does manage to fight the fisted figurine off again, but Blade rode the elevator down with her and slashes her throat. So that's pretty much everyone dead, outside of Alex and Megan. So she wakes him up from that walk he was taking and tells him there's something she has to show him.
I couldn't sleep. Something about Neil's death kept on bothering me.
Was it the him being dead part? That's a thing that most widows are really upset about. But she just now realized that old puppet master and her husband both died from a self-inflicted lead diet. Also, Neil spent quite a while in his hidden room in the upper levels. This enormous white room with this masked man inside it with whom she can dance. You know, Neil.
You can't save her, Alex.
You'd think after having this vision twice now, he would have maybe warned her to get away at some point. Maybe during that 2-minute dance sequence.
Stop!
But it was all just a dream. She didn't wake him up from that walk he took. He was still tucked away all safe and sound.
What's happening, Alex?
But it's all just a dream. Within a dream. But now she knocks on the door to wake him up because there's something she just has to show him.
I couldn't sleep. Something about Neil's death was really bothering me.
And this scene plays out pretty much exactly the same for 2 minutes, which makes it feel a lot longer than 2 minutes. But when they get into Neil's secret clubhouse, it's not a big white dancing hall, but a dingy little study with books. They got the diary of the old puppet master who made living dolls with ancient magics.
They mirror the soul of their master, and with me they are harmless, but I fear what they are capable of if placed in the wrong hands.
Ha, so he built the hook-handed, black trenchcoat-wielding, spike-eyed, knife-handed puppet as a puppet of love, and it's totally Neil's fault that it started running around killing people. Then Alex sees Neil is up to some nefarious shit, so they must run. Gotta meet up with the others. Alex can feel they are in the dining room. Sure enough, they are. Just, not entirely alive right now. But you know who is? Neil.
You're dead.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so technically he's dead, but he's still walking around and talking and living his best life, so I think it counts. But you see, that's why he ate that bullet, because he knew the ancient Egyptian magic to animate the inanimate. Applying that to himself, it allowed him to give his corpse life. This little loophole of being technically dead but still walking and talking means he's effectively immortal. Also, that's why he felt the need to murder absolutely everyone, because he learned the old magics. One of their psychic asses were bound to catch on sooner or later, and finders keepers.
Besides, I'm tired of experimenting with silly little wooden puppets.
But just because he has everything he ever wanted and has all of the power in this situation, that's no reason for him to not do something completely stupid that is obviously going to come to bite him in the ass later in this very short running time we have left. But back on the murder of all his old friends thing, it's not like it's the only murder he's ever done, no. We're at the climactic villain rant and he's letting it all fly now. He knew this hotel was tied to Toulon, and thus he killed Megan's parents, allowing him to swoop in as the knight in shining armor, easing her grief and getting access to the inner workings of this hotel.
Bastard!
Oh, goddamn, Megan just got a face full of equality! Alex just gets a little slap before a series of much less impressive punching. Ah well, nothing a glass vase can't solve, so they must run. But oh darn it, doors are locked, because Zombie Teresa is there as well. Oh god, why does this keep happening to me? Thus, Alex and Neil duke it out until Alex kicks him into the elevator where, surprise, Pinhead is there to trap him before Tunneler drills into his leg. He tries to escape through the emergency exit, but looky here, Blade is there to chop his fingers off with green blood, so it's considered not so bad by the censors. Either way, they're all here for the destruction of Neil. Alex, he was just trying to murder you. He already murdered everybody else. What, are you upset that you're not getting the chance to kick him in the groin a few times for the road? Either way, he's dead as shit. Like, again. And that's that. Alex is like, it's been real, gotta go. Maybe we can meet up in a sequel or something. Leroy, though. He has been brought back to life, presumably with the old magics that Megan seems to know. Well, there's been how many Puppet Master movies by now? I'm not going to get the least bit upset over cute dog sequel bait. Anyway, that was Puppet Master. Rough around the edges doesn't begin to describe it. There's just a few things going on here that make it a bit harder to watch than its age alone should make it, in my opinion. The musical score, for one thing, while very good at presenting the idea of it being puppets and dolls and the like, unfortunately doesn't really lend itself to much of the tension and suspense for later points in the movie. Whimsical introductions to the idea of living dolls that are as of yet not evil don't feel all that different to watching the POV of a tiny sentient toy who's about to go on a killing spree. Then there's the visual presentation, which has some high points and some low points. The effects are great for the time and budget, and I especially like the use of stop motion when it did come up. However, the action, choreography, and the actors acting it out left quite a lot to be desired. It's kind of what you get with these old full moon straight-to-video flicks. They look surprisingly good for the budget, but the execution is a mixed bag. Hell, after the non-introduction of Neil and the opening of the old puppet master swallowing a barrel, I was confused on my first time watching it because they had done themselves in the same way, and I didn't know if the younger new puppet master was actually supposed to be the same one from the opening. Yeah, I am new to the series, but you gotta admit that was a confusing segue. Still, the depths they go into the magical psychic angle and the explanation of the killer puppets running around was a nice touch. I personally would have liked characters who would maybe not be so dumb, especially if they have premonitions or precognition. A little self-preservation would be a nice touch once in a while. At the end of the day, Puppet Master isn't a phenomenal film by any stretch of the imagination, but the groundwork for a series that would span tons of movies is evident in its first film. The depth given to the rules of the world and the mystery still left in it beg to be expanded on, but the first outing is still really only for fans of classic low-budget cheese. Coming in at 2 peaceful puppets of pulverizing punches out of 5. It's not terrible or anything, but like I said, rough. Thank you all for watching. I've been Decker Shado. And remember, if your psychic abilities let you sense murder at a specific location, maybe don't go there.
That's enough, Dana.
Fuck you, you Ivy League tight ass.
Also, while I have you here, hey, I've reviewed plenty of full moon horror movies. You like killer toys? Well, I have a review of demonic toys right here. There's also, of course, always the option for whatever YouTube has decided that you should maybe go for. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, call to action. Not awkward at all. Like